r/AskReddit by Redmond Dts. What's the most disturbing confession you've ever come across on social media? Someone once posted that they'd been pretending to go to work for 8 months after being fired. Got up every day, got dressed, kissed their family goodbye, sat in a parking lot or library all day, came home. Nobody knew. The loneliness of that specific silence broke something in me. On 4chan, years ago, there was a dude that confessed that he kept a severed body in a freezer. People called it fake, but it was true. That story, where a guy sold drugs online and discovered he sold people the wrong stuff, and he found that several people died from it. One of my best friends was caught trying to meet up with a 14-year-old and was filmed and uploaded to YouTube. My brother told me the reason our other brother uninvited one of his groomsmen from his wedding was because they caught him sexting a 12-year-old girl. On TikTok, a woman who worked at a morgue said she had a crush on this guy who didn't like her back. He died. She confessed to raping his dead body. Of course she didn't use the word rape, and she talked about it like some funny silly quirky story she'd tell at a sleepover. Described his genitals and what she did to him. I pray to God it was just bait, but I don't know who in their right mind would be desperate enough for attention to use a confession of necrophilia as bait. Edit. I looked up the story on TikTok again. She didn't work at the morgue. Apparently I misremembered. She said she attended his funeral and waited for people to leave to go to the repast, but for some reason his casket was still there. I'm 90% certain it was just for attention, and God I hope it was, but to lie about something like that is disgusting in itself. I don't think I'm allowed to link her page and the other gross stuff she said, but you can probably find it yourself in TikTok by searching funeral woman crush. I don't know if it's the most disturbing, but one about a woman who was paid a stupid amount of money by a lonely rich man to shit all over his house. He took her out to a nice dinner, it was a fancy date, and then when they went back to his place, he offered her tens of thousands of dollars to eat a can of corn and a bunch of laxatives. Then she had to poop all over his home, including on a glass table which he laid under. After that was done, he paid her even more money to stay and watch him eat it. It'll have to be an Instagram reel of a guy talking about how his mother gave him up at birth, only for him to get older and meet a woman who he went on to date and sleep with, and find out his birth mother was also her mother. A mother informing that she was helping her son empty his testicles by masturbating him during every bath time. And asking for guidance, convinced that it was necessary for every boy's well-being, cause she heard of something akin to blue balls. Kid was like less than 10, if I remember right. The one where that guy drowned his 2-year-old brother in the bath when he was like 5, that was a very sad one to read. There was also one similar of a woman drowning her sister when they were kids in the bath together. I forgot the details, but I think it was because the sister had ripped her favorite book, and when the mother left them to attend to something else, she pushed her head under the water. They actually say it's quite dangerous to leave very small children alone together for exactly this reason. A 4-year-old doesn't understand that if you hold someone's head under for too long, they won't come up again. Or if they do, they don't understand the permanence of death. It's surprisingly more common than you think for siblings to kill their younger sibs. To be honest, even without the murder angle, one should never leave their kids unattended in water. Accidents don't ask permission. The girl who pretended to be a man online and catfished a 50-year-old woman. She made up a fake job at a fake company for the woman and manipulated the woman into moving across country to be with a man that didn't exist, with a new job that didn't exist. When the woman found out about it, she was stranded in a new city with no job and no money to go back home. The girl just deleted her online presence and never spoke to the woman again. Ricky Rodriguez. He posted a YouTube video of himself preparing to kill his mother and some others for the abuse he suffered as a child. He was an offspring of the children of God. I think he was their poster child for abuse. When the video ends, he took a life or two of those involved, and then took his own. So tragic. I remember someone posted that when they were a kid, they were wrestling a younger kid in the woods. He slammed the kid on his head, and he died. He never told anyone, and the kid's dad ended up killing himself from the grief. Everyone assumed the kid got hurt playing or something. I seem to vaguely remember this one about a guy who was obsessed with being a host to as many parasites as possible. Like, the thought of having his body riddled with all manner of worms, lice, etc. excited him. Also, that he believed they were beginning to affect his brain, to the point he would seek out relationships, just to spread them to someone else. I want to believe it was creative writing bullshit, but I dunno. A woman on TikTok who made $40,000 by making bread out of her own yeast when she had a yeast infection and selling that to clients who were interested. My neighbor was stung by one of those online predator groups, trying to meet up with what he believed was a 13-year-old and her friend. His excuse was, catfishing is illegal, and the decoys had catfished him. Anyway, nothing happens. Police drop the case, he's back home. I had many arguments with him, as I have a young daughter. I don't condone violence, but he got the message and used to run inside whenever he saw either me or my partner. No violence was used, let me edit this to add. But my partner certainly threatened it when we saw him looking at our daughter. His entire family defended him online, let him move back in, and said everyone has skeletons in their closet. A few months later, police are at his house. I see on Facebook that he was arrested for assaulting his young nieces and nephews. One niece had finally had enough and confessed to her teachers what was happening. Absolutely heartbreaking. And what annoyed me was that her mum had the chance to protect her and still chose her brother. And then another chance to protect her by not posting everything all over social media, and yet did it anyway. So this brave girl who not only saved herself, but her siblings had to deal with the public announcement that her uncle assaulted her. Just awful all round. I used to go on 4chan occasionally back in the mid-2000s as a teenager. I would go there and to other shock sites, stuff I definitely didn't need to be seeing, but alas that's what my friends and I did back then. Fast forward to 2014. I'm bored one day and decide to check out 4chan again, just to see if it's still a shock site or if it's been watered down. I'm scrolling and come across a post where a dude is claiming he strangled his girlfriend and posted pictures of her naked body. I thought it was a really weird kink post, but surely it's fake, and figured that was enough of 4chan for me. Turns out it was real. Haven't been back on 4chan since. This was back in the forum days, but in my opinion that counts as social media. We had a pretty tight community, and one member who was younger, just turned 18, if I recall correctly, and who was known to be a virgin. One morning I wake up to a post in which he is announcing having finally lost his virginity. Writing like he's drunk, and telling a story of having had sex with a girl who had passed out, also drunk. First reply was something like, "Dude, you raped that girl." Post was quickly deleted. We didn't see that guy around much afterward. Good on you all for calling it what it was though. Years ago, Craigslist used to have this section where you could confess however you felt about a person, or maybe a complete stranger you crossed paths with. They were oftentimes hilarious, so I would read them to my girlfriend, and we'd have a laugh. One night, my girlfriend got home from work and jumped in the shower. I was reading them out loud to her until I got to this really creepy entry. This guy was talking about how he was watching the cashier behind the counter. How much he loved the way her tight white shirt cupped her breasts, how good her ass looked in that plaid skirt. How he dreamed of being inside her. My girlfriend peeked out from behind the shower curtain in horror. She pointed at the floor, and there lied her tight white shirt and plaid skirt. The guy who said he had an old car he wanted to sell. He read or heard how to fix something that was wrong with it cheaply enough to make the car work. He sold it to a nice young man. He heard later that the dodgy job he did on the car caused an accident and the young man died. He ended up moving states and cut off all of his friends and family so they wouldn't find out. That's all folks. Thank you for watching. If you like videos like this one, why not like and subscribe for more? Have a nice evening.